everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for being here, for stopping on in for our long song Saturday that we are enjoying today. Well, going to enjoy. Hopefully enjoy. We're going to go ahead and listen to the Stooges. We're going to listen to their second studio album, Funhouse, which was released in 1970. Of course, this is featuring Iggy Pop, of whom we had listened to his solo album a little bit back. So I figured let's go ahead and travel back just a little bit more and listen to the band that he is from, the Stooges, of which I've never heard anything from them, but I've heard them, recommended by you guys. And of course, listening to Iggy Pop, you guys had mentioned the band Stooges. So this particular album had been suggested by Stuntman Croc McGinty, which is, I love the name, Kev Truth, Ricky Spanish, Gaston Necesario, Mark Ribe, and GOG. So you guys are at least the ones that have specifically mentioned this album. There may have been a lot more people that recommended songs here and there, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I mean, it's, I got a list. I can only check it once. I'm not Sansa. So hope that you guys are, ready to go ahead and snap on into some Stooges. I'm assuming that is going to be a fun time, since it's a fun house. Yeah, that's the intro. Press the like button, subscribe if you haven't already. Just get it all out the way. Let's go ahead and listen to the music. This is technically boba tea, but the boba was a little bit old, so I took out the boba and I'm just drinking the tea. It's rose tea, so hence the boba straw, but it's just sweet. So that's what I'm drinking right now. Anyways, let's go ahead and dive into the music. We're going to listen to the first song here, which is entitled, hold on, let me pull it up here, Down the Street. And yeah, hey, let's go ahead and put on the headphones, of which I gotta put on right here. Can't hear the music otherwise. And let me make sure my volume is right for myself. You'd think that I would do all this before. Be wrong. All right, let's go ahead and listen to the first song. We'll talk about it after. Here we go, guys. I like that. Those hits. Hollering. That's a nice, hard rock and roll track to start off the album, and this truly does feel like a strong rock and roll feel. It has that drunken, walking down the alley at 3 a.m. from the bar kind of feel, trying to crawl your way home, walking of course, not driving or taking any other sort of automatic vehicle, just crawling your way home. The way that Iggy sings here, I think it perfectly captures that not sober kind of feel with the way that he's singing, that drawl, like I said, the hooting and hollering that takes place in between. And even as the song begins to wind down at the end and everything's coming down, the guitar riffs become more muted and such. Like, you get that. He's just kind of moaning and to me, just desperately trying to get through the door, put the keys in the keyhole. Oh, that's the car keys. Why are you using the car keys in the door hole? Kind of feel. The guitar solo I also really liked because it sounded like there were two guitar solos happening at the same time, but I do see that it's only going to be Ron Ashton on the guitar handling that. So of course I'm assuming that it was just overdubbed on itself. But I like how they did that. Instead of just setting one as a rhythm guitar in the back and of course one as the lead, it seemed like it was basically just two lead guitars that were just kind of spinning around each other before they harmonized in that one long sustained note at the very end to pretty much tell you like, hey, this is the outro. Here's the send-off. I like the drum pattern as well, especially in the chorus. It's a simple pattern, but it's an effective pattern. And then on the very back end of that, double time it really quick before going back to. I just like that. The singing and the music to an extent take out organ, of course, and a lot of other things, but kind of gave me a little bit of a Doors feeling as well, maybe because of Iggy's delivery specifically here, and a little bit of that whiskey-soaked tone in the music itself, but that's me just kind of reaching out a little bit. All right, let's look at these lyrics. Down on the street. Well, down on the street where the faces shine, floating around on a real mind. I see a pretty thing, ain't no wall. See a pretty thing, ain't no wall. No walls. Yeah, deep in the night I'm lost in love. 1,000 eyes look at you, 1,000 lights look at you. I don't, I'm lost. I don't, I'm lost. Come on, a real mind, a real mind, a real mind. I don't know what he means when he says a real mind, but I'm really just getting the idea. Like I said with the music and the feel of it, that he is just walking through the streets, the city streets at night. The lights are out, a few cars here and there passing by. He sees a pretty thing. No wall. Maybe there's nothing stopping him from approaching her. like that kind of wall, perhaps. Says he's lost in love, or maybe I don't know, or maybe he's wandering the streets just looking for love, or wandering the streets having just lost a love. I don't know. You know, you could kind of dive into a few different directions with this one here. Let's see if there's anything about this particular track. No, but yeah, while we're here, let's talk about some of the recording studio information and such. It says their original debut album had released to mixed reviews and limited commercial success. I guess there was more faith from Elektra head Jack Holzman in MC5, a different band, thinking that they had more commercial potential than the Stooges. So the Stooges were already looked down upon already from Elektra Records, their recording company. Having seen the group live, Gallucci told Holzman that the Stooges were an interesting group, but I don't think you can get this feeling on tape, which is kind of interesting. You know, that's actually an aspect I never really thought about, right? You know, especially in the older days, you know, I don't know what you would call them, a recruiter, record label would go to the live shows, you know, find a band, listen to them. And of course, the live energy is going to be different, and they have to see if they can apply that into a studio. That's kind of interesting. I just never thought of that. It says, however, Holzman had already reserved recording time for the band in LA, so the album was recorded in 1970. Gallucci's plan as a producer was to use each day to record about a dozen takes of a particular song, and then pick the one that would appear on the album. The first day consisted of sound checks, run-throughs of all the songs, with baffles between the amplifiers and drums, and Iggy Pop singing his vocals through a studio-style microphone on a boom stand. And there's some more information, but we'll read about that as we go on. But I wanted to get a little bit of context, and actually I want to try and do that a little bit more. Get a little bit of context as we're listening to the album, so we kind of get the information along with, of course, the music. Let's go and listen to the next track here, which is going to be Loose. Here we go. Love that guitar in the song. Okay, Iggy's delivery on certain words, like when he's saying, I feel fine. The way he has this very interesting kind of raw sound that he allows to come forth from his mouth and from his throat, but it's also kind of snarky, like he has a little bit of an attitude behind that, right? And I like that. There's a hint of sarcasm in his words. Like, I feel like you would get that when talking to him. So when he's saying, like, I feel fine, it's just the way he delivers that. And you get a lot more of that, of course, throughout the whole song, but even at the very end, like, I took a ride. Like, he just, I don't know, there's something about that. The bass line I thought was very catchy and groovy beneath the guitar, which I really like the sound of the guitar in that solo. It actually perfectly matched Iggy's vocals in that fine kind of part, where it has kind of this raw, screechy sound. There's, I don't know, he's probably just picking really fast on some chords or strings or whatever, but there's a sort of sound that he gets out of that I always kind of reference as like a distress kind of sound. Like, it just sounds like the strings are in distress and under duress. It just sounds like it's at this critical point. And I just really like how that's brought in the solo, while at the same time still retaining a certain smoothness, and at the same time hitting a certain rawness. And the way that Iggy sings the chorus of I'll stick it deep inside, he kind of, I know obviously he works with Bowie later on, but doesn't he kind of Bowie it up a little bit? Like, he smooths it over. The verse, he's delivering raw, hard rock and roll, but the chorus, he kind of adds that smarmy, snarky, sarcastic kind of sound. I'll stick it deep inside. Like, not like that, but I don't know. I think that his delivery, alongside with the music, is kind of making this. I took a ride with the pretty music. I went down, and baby, you can tell. I took a ride with the pretty music. Now I'm putting it to you straight from hell. I'll stick it deep inside. I'll stick it deep inside because I'm loose always. I'll feel fine. I feel fine to be dancing, baby. I feel fine. I'm a shaking leaf. Feel fine to be dancing, baby, because it's love. Yeah, I do believe. So, honestly, I'm actually taking this as Iggy, the Stooges, all of them, like, they're taking their music. It comes from love. It comes from passion. It comes from creativity. And they're going to stick it deep inside of us, our ears, hopefully a little bit deeper into our soul, into our mind. They just want to share their music with us. That's what I'm kind of getting, especially based off the first verse. I took a ride with the pretty music. I went down and baby, you can tell I'm putting it to you straight from hell. Like perhaps it comes from places of pain, but it comes from them, their internals, their souls, and they're just kind of putting their music inside of us. And I'm imagining him saying like, you know, cause I'm loose is just kind of his way, his slang, I guess you could say, of like hanging loose. Like I'm just being me. We're just doing us. Hopefully you enjoy it. That's at least what I kind of think. Let's move on into the next track here, which is going to be TVI. Here, hold on, I gotta pull it back up. Here we go. They brought it down a little simmer right here. I like a little false ending. I really like the false ending that this track gave us. It had built up, and then it just stopped, and it seemed like a perfect ending. Hey, that's where the song should stop. And I looked at it and was like, no, we still have basically a minute left. And I said, oh, where are we going from here? And it basically gave us the chorus again, but just in a more subdued kind of down tone, which I thought was a really interesting choice to do that. The opening starts off like a bat out of hell, just like, ah! Like it's going, and Iggy continues that throughout. But let's talk about that bass line. So the bassist here is going to be Dave Alexander. Dave on the bass here is putting down a throbby, pulsating, vibrating, deep bass on here. It's just rubbery. You could bounce off of it, and it's just so thick, not muddy. It's a clear thickness, like a like hair gel. It's just like clear and thick, and I just love how everything is piled on top of that bass line, and it just feels so good how it moves because it still has this groove. It has this of course rock and roll edge to it. It's just a very nice foundation for everyone else to build on top of that. Ron, his guitar playing. I really like, of course, the guitar and the solo, but if you notice, it sounded like in the middle section, the guitar had once again, like it was playing and doing its thing, but there was like a second guitar line that was just kind of creeping in from the way back where, kind of like where the plants is back there, like it just started walking in, and then when it kind of got a little bit more apparent in the sound, the actual solo that was happening changed kind of to match the new tone that had snuck in. That is really cool and a nice way of bringing a new element into the band or into the music, but then incorporating and changing what was already there to make it more consistent. That just brings a new element and adds to the dish. I just thought that was a really cool choice to do that. Iggy, his delivery on here is definitely, I would say, a focal point. He is unfettered. He is unchained. He is unleashed. I mean, you could tell from the beginning that this was going to be like him going off. And go off he does. And you know what I thought as I was listening to it? Remember before when I was talking about the Doors and, you know, Jim Morrison? When I read before here, I'm looking at it right now again, that's, you know, with Iggy Pop singing his vocals through a studio-style microphone on a boom stand. So I'm curious, obviously that's how, he got this sound on his vocals. I wonder if Morrison did a similar thing because there's a very specific type of sound in his delivery from a production point of view that we're getting here. And I think that in part may be why I'm thinking of the Doors, because I'm wondering if that was sung, in a similar way here. I don't know. Because I'm reading here just a little bit more. Gallucci arranged the band in studio in the way they normally played at concert, with Pop singing through a handheld dynamic microphone with no baffles between the amplifiers. The results were very raw when compared to contemporary records. For example, without the normal isolation baffles, the vibrations from the bass amplifier caused audible rattling of the snare drum on several songs. And I really like how that's, the style they went for here. Before, as we were reading, and once again, this helps with all the context, trying to capture that live sound in studio. What better way than to set them up as how they would be set up with a live audience and a live concert and just put them in the studio in an environment that they're comfortable with. And if you want to capture that sound, that's probably going to be one of the better ways to do that. Let's go ahead and move on into the next track, which is not the longest track on the album, but it is a little bit of a longer one, 7 minutes here. That is going to be Dirt. Oh, I forgot to look at the lyrics. Oh, okay, hold on. Back it up. See the cat? Yeah, I do mean you. See that cat? Yeah, I do mean you. She got a TVI on me. She got a TVI on me. See that cat down on her back? See that cat down on her back. See that cat? I love her so. See that cat? I love her so. Almost sounds like a kid's rhyme if you read a certain way. So, I mean, see that cat? That's you. I love you. She got a TV eye on me. I'm imagining like the same way that, you know, you watch TV and whoever's on the TV, let's just say like a news anchor, is looking at you, like the TV watches you. He's watching her. She's watching him. She got a TV eye on me, watching me like a TV. That's at least what I think. Let's move on now to the next track here, which is going to be Dirt. Hopefully no dirt in your eye. Let's go. I like the way he spits that. Far, ending the first side. This is a 7-minute track, and I love that for the 7-minute track, they've taken this slow jam, allowed their wings to spread a little bit more musically on this one, and it just feels like this great send-off before you turn the record over and flip it. I love this track a lot. Everything actually is sensational. Let's talk about everybody. Let's talk about everything on here. Iggy, we get a more subtle and melodic side here, while still having nuances of bite and that raw power we've heard before, especially in certain syllables, especially in the lyrics when he says, when you touch me, like he puts a little bit of he puts a little bit of on it, on the touch. And I just really like how he still keeps that in certain moments for a strong enunciation, but a lot of this track is just kind of this raw power, but now just in a more, I would say, psychedelic headspace. I think that this song has a little bit of a psychedelic feel to it, whereas the, of course, other tracks are just kind of raw rock and roll. Everything, I think, is phenomenal here. The opening with the drums, I thought was a great drum fill to kind of start us off with. That's Scott Ashton on the drums. I don't even think I've mentioned him yet. But I really like the drum pattern, that fill that he brought in. And then he brought it back again later on just to kind of remind us, like, it brings to mind the opening. It's like, ooh, I remember that. I remember when he did that. It's a nice callback. The bass line from Alexander, once again. Here it has a little bit more to me of a snaky kind of feel. Just like snaking through the mud or something. I don't know why I keep on getting mud in my, in my thoughts listening to this. But I like how snaky and slow and suave, I would even say that it is. Ron Ashton, his guitar. This is part of what I mean when like the music is allowed to open up to perhaps more ideas and explore new avenues here. Because some of the effects that he's playing with on his guitar, I don't know exactly how he's getting those effects, whether it's through a pedal or whatever it may be. But I like how there's a little bit more of an experimentation taken here. The moments when Iggy and Ron would coincide on top of each other with guitar and vocals, of course, were just really beautiful moments where they would both come together at certain hits. I mentioned it during the track, but during that solo section, actually, when Iggy says, "Play it for me, babe, with love," that's when Ron slows down the guitar a little bit, and you really do feel that he gives a little bit of love in that moment. He gives a little bit of that romantic, intimate touch right there. And I don't know if you were watching, I mean, obviously you are, but the second half of this song, when it's just soloing in this very slow groove, I was just kind of lost in it. That could have gone on probably for a little bit longer, not too long, but a little bit longer, and I would have been completely fine with that. But I'm very happy with what we were given there. And also, speaking of how slow this jam was, did it seem like at certain points, to me most notably, before it would go into the chorus, the song slowed down just a little bit, just a teensy weedy bit, and then when it kind of step and lock back into its original slow tempo, which I think that was really cool how that was done. Oh, I've been dirt and I don't care. I've been dirt and I don't care. Cause I'm burning inside. I'm just a yearning inside, and I'm the fire o' life. I've been hurt and I don't care. I've been hurt. I don't care. Cause I'm burning inside. I'm just dreaming this life. And do you feel it? Said, do you feel it when you touch me? Said, do you feel it when you touch me? There's a fire. It's just a fire. It's just burning. So he's been low. He's been down in the dirt. He's been treated like dirt. Some have considered him dirt. But however you look at him, or however you look at the band or their music, there's still that fire inside them. There's still that passion inside them. You can put them down. You can say this about them. That's at least what I'm kind of taking, especially this being their second record and with the mixed reviews of their debut. I feel like this is that fire. We're still going to be here. We're still going to burn and burn bright. Hopefully you can feel it. To me, that's them speaking to the audience. Do you feel it? Do you feel our passion as you listen? And that's what they're repeating there at the end. Let's go ahead and move on now into the second side of the album. I hope that you guys have enjoyed listening to it with me. Hey, let me know, now that you're in the halfway point with me, do you guys like boba tea? Like I said, this one, I bought one because I haven't had boba tea in probably years at this point. And I'm going to say I still kind of haven't. But I wanted to buy it for my wife and I, so I bought one for her, one for myself. I bought a matcha one, and then this one, the rose tea. The matcha one was a lot better. I went to a new place. It was all right. But I drank the matcha one, loved it. But she didn't really like the rose tea one, so I'm kind of just sipping on it now. But it's not really. It's because it's like 2 days old. That's why I got rid of the actual boba, because it's not good anymore. Anyways, let me know if you like boba. Let's move on into the second side of the album. Starting off with the track 1970. What were you doing in 1970? I don't know, but we're going to find out what the Stooges were doing. Here we go. But I pressed the lyrics to pull them up for me, but I didn't press the... Always starting up with a whoop. I like how the bass comes down at that part. I feel alright. How he's feeling, because he'll tell you. So we have the addition of saxophone in this track, which is going to be played by Steve Mackey, or McKay rather, which I thought was a really cool addition there at the back half of the song. Here's my thing. Let's get the criticism out the way. I do think it's a little bit repetitive for how long it is. I was kind of getting bored, to be honest, by around the 3-minute point or so, when he just keeps on repeating over and over, and I was like, okay, I get it. And the music, I liked it. I liked the song before that. If this was a 3-minute 30-second track, I would have liked it a lot more, especially if that saxophone came in a little bit sooner, because I don't feel like the saxophone saved the track. This is just me, obviously, but I liked it. I thought it was cool where it came in, but I was like, at that point, I was kind of already done with it, so I was like, And it wasn't, like I said, it wasn't interesting enough to excite me again, I guess, at that particular point. But besides that, the drumming is sensational. I like the different pattern that shakes things up here. It rocks, it rolls. It's a rollicking kind of beat. I really enjoy that. Iggy, his delivery is great as usual. Guitar, great as usual. Everything is really good. I like how the bass would play up and then come down for that. It would play bum da 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 bum 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 bum, and then da 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 da. When it would come down to that part, I like that a lot. I just like that back and forth on the bass and how it moved everything alongside of everything else. The guitar, once again, you have that solo that's kind of sneaks in from the side, kind of comes inside of the house to your house party like an unexpected guest, but you're glad they're there. Not the unexpected guest, and you're like, oh my god, who told them that we were having a party tonight? I told you not to tell anyone else, and they come. No, this is a good guest, and it's a nice surprise, and I really enjoyed that. I just wish that the song was shorter and maybe a little bit less repetitive than it was. Out of My Mind on Saturday night, 1970, rolling in sight. Radio burning up above, beautiful baby, feed my love. All night till I blow away, all night till I blow away, I feel alright, I feel alright. Baby, oh baby, burn my heart. Fall apart, babe, fall apart. All night till I blow away, I feel alright. Out of My Mind on Saturday night, 1970, rolling in sight. He's having a great time, I would even say. Not a good time, he's having a great time. And you know how he feels? feels all right. He's doing just fine. He's out there partying and doing himself. That's it. Let's go ahead and move on into the title track of the album, which is going to be Fun House, in case you couldn't tell. Let's go ahead and listen to it. Here we go. This is the longest track. I feel like the title track is a 7-minute, 47-second constant assault on us. Where Dirt was the second longest track on the album, almost the same length, around 7 minutes on near 8, Dirt took a more melodic, subdued approach to things. Kind of slowed everything down, gave us a lot of room to breathe, a little bit more experimentation in a softer way with all the instruments. In the title track here, we're doing the exact opposite. This thing is messy, cluttered, claustrophobic. There's just a lot going on, and all at the same time, it is, instead of taking away things and giving space, it is, don't leave any space, just throw it all at the wall and let the colors run as they may as they slide down. This was, I thought, a really cool track in opposition to Dirt. And as the title track, it is really them putting all of their strengths on the forefront and giving us this very strong, hard track with all the things that we've heard thus far in the album, all the things that we've enjoyed. I mean, Iggy, to me, this is him stretching his proverbial delivery and his wings in every respect. Some of the screaming and yells, they don't even sound like right. He's just going. I love the moments when he's calling out cues to the band. Like when he says in the very beginning, like he says, let me in when they're soloing, and he's like, let me in so that I can come in and start singing and stuff. But even from the beginning, he says, blow right on it, blow Steve. Like telling Steve, of course, the saxophonist, like, go ahead, hit it off, like do your thing, which he does start from the very beginning. Ron and Steve, I don't think that there's a second in this track, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think there's a second in this track where they are not clashing, going off, playing saxophone, playing guitar, and on its own it sounds really, really cool. Like their combination, they have a great combination together and it sounds good, but there's not a second where they lit up. This is truly their fun house, and we are all invited into it. We can leave if we want to, but the welcome mat's at the door for us to come on in. And they are doing their thing. The drumming, I like the drum pattern, the slight offbeat with the snare and how that would kind of come in at its own pace. The bass line really just kind of stays pretty samey the whole way through. I will once again be honest and say I really, really, really like Dirt, and I just love the space that it brought, and I was expecting something similar here, or a different direction here, and I do feel that it went on a little bit long. I will say it once again, I just felt like at a certain point there wasn't anything left to say. And for this particular sound, for their hard throw everything at the wall kind of sound, I do enjoy it in smaller bites, I guess you could say, in smaller pieces. So for it to go on for 7 minutes, it was just a little bit too much for me. And I was like, At a certain point, I'm just kind of done with it. I guess that's just my best way of putting it. If it was like 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes even, I would have probably been a little bit better. But at 7 minutes, almost 8, I'm like, there's nothing else happening for it to kind of keep me in it, and I enjoy the sound, but for a shorter period of time. So that's just me though. Don't listen to me. That's just me. All right. Calling from the fun house with my song, we've been separated, baby, far too long. Calling all the whoop-de pretty things, shining in your freedom, come and be my rings. Hold me tight, calling from the fun house, calling from the fun house. The fun house, I'm assuming, could be in an asylum of sort. He's been there for a while. He's saying, baby, I miss you. Call me. Like, yeah. Come visit me, call me. Been separated far too long. He's like, you've been shining in your freedom. Come and be my rings. Come here and hang out with me a little bit. Little baby girly, little baby boy, cover me with loving in a bundle of joy. Do I care to show you what I'm dreaming of? Do I dare to whoop y'all with my love? Every little baby knows just what I mean, living in division in a shift in scene. Or it could be the scene of music that's changing, and they're finding themselves in the shift, in the interim of it all, and maybe trying to find their place. Music, maybe. It does say here. You know what I could do? You know I haven't done this, but you know what I can do? I can do one of these so you guys can see like what I'm looking at, and like here is like I'm looking at the lyrics and everything. But I'm scrolling. I was reading obviously, and then right here at the bottom, in this song, Iggy is talking about the Stooges' mansion in Ann Arbor, where they'd live, make music, and have wild drug-infused parties. Could also be that. It could also be that. So let's go ahead and move on into the final song here, which is going to be L.A. Blues, ending the album. Hope you guys have enjoyed the journey. Let's go ahead and finish it out with a little blues. Here we go. Always screaming. So that completes our album listen of Funhouse by the Stooges. I really hope that you guys had enjoyed listening to the music alongside with me. I hope that you enjoyed listening to the album. This was a fun one to listen to. I really like the 6 tracks on here. I think there's some bonus tracks here as well, but like this was a fun album to listen to. Some of it I wasn't like 100% too keen on. You know, some of it went on a little bit too long, but Dirt, in my opinion, is definitely the standout on this track, or on this album, rather. Sorry, I'm a little discombobulated right now for some reason. But yeah, I really enjoyed Dirt. I think that that's the best track on the album. I'm really curious as to what you guys think, though. What is the best track on the album? Is it Dirt? Is your favorite Loose, TVI, LA Blues? LA Blues it works as the ending to their live show because it sounds like the ending to a live show where the band, even more so than the title track, just throws it all against the wall. Sounds like this climax as everything's just ramping up before the final hits. Lights come on, band walks off stage, you go home. Right? Like it feels like that. If it was like a minute, that's fine. But for 5 minutes, you know, like I guess listening to the album in completion, it gives you that sense of a show closer, a show ender, that kind of thing. But like, come on. And on my end, because I can show you guys certain things on my screen, I can't show you like what I'm wanting to say right now. Like I'm looking at the plays, how many times each song here has been streamed. You may be able to tell, but obviously that one is the least and has the least amount of streams. Most of these, 13 million, 4 million, 3 million, 5 million, 2 million. LA Blues, 226,000. That tells you all you need to know. Everyone else stopped playing the album by that point. They probably got a little bit in and said, not quite for me. But anyways, like I said, it's a fun album to listen to. I hope that you guys enjoyed listening to it alongside with me. Please let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. You can follow me in a bunch of places as well. Support the channel and what I do on Patreon. Thank you so much for being here. Have a great rest of your day, and I will talk to you all later. Bye, guys.